working by referral and why it is absolutely crucial for you to research your real estate agent. Hey, it's Ryan Hodge, your broker owner at the realty firm here in London, Ontario. And I want to provide you with another insight for selecting an agent inside of the London and St. Thomas real estate market. For nearly 20 years, Sandra Tavares and I have worked together for many of you in terms of working by referral. And whether we met at an open house originally, or maybe registered on one of our websites, maybe somebody that you knew gave you our names and we started working together. What you know about us is that we're very much about working by referral and serving not only during, but also before and after the real estate transaction completes. Because this is a lifetime business. You know, a lot of the relationships that we have inside of real estate are relationships for life. You know, we have been fortunate to be around long enough, which means I'm a little bit older now as well, where we're getting into second generation or third generation business, people that have had kids that have come up that are now searching for their first homes, or friends and family that perhaps their parents are downsizing or moving into retirement residences, things like that. Working by referral will always be the number one most rewarding type of business that we do. Even though, I've been fortunate to train agents all over North America, and, we've got over 100 agents in our London and St. Thomas area, along with Woodstock, Ingersoll, Tillsonburg, Kitchener. We're a multi-office real estate brokerage, but working by referral is still the number one thing that we take the most pride in for, what got us here in the first place. And so if you're new to this channel, I like to share insights from nearly 20 years of award-winning real estate experience. And Sandra and I combined are heading for 40 years in the business together. So a lot of homes sold, and I'll get to that in a second. But if you find value in this, be sure to like this channel and subscribe to it. And make sure that you are researching your real estate agent. Research them before you actually get into a contractual agreement with them. And here's why. Oftentimes, agents have a lot of talk, but they may not necessarily have actually walked the talk, if you know what I mean. So I reference that we have nearly 20 years in business, 40 years combined. But the average realtor in London, Ontario, last year sold less than 5 homes. On average, we are typically anywhere between 75 and some years we've been up to 150, nearly 200 homes, according to the MLS stats. Now, that's a lot of business. We've had agents that have done some work for us in that time. As a brokerage, we're typically around 1,000 transactions. So in the last 12, 13 years, we've been involved in over 12,000 real estate transactions. Longevity in the business isn't necessarily how you should seek out a real estate agent as far as, trusting their guidance. Because if they're only selling a house, once every other month or, once every 3 months, that to me is not the experience that's going to be necessarily relevant to today's really, really ever-changing market. So put some thought to that. Now, you might be saying, if you're new, to finding out more about me, well, just because this guy sold a whole bunch of real estate doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a great guy to work with. And I share with you, you have to find the right fit that feels good to you. You have to find somebody that is going to align with your core values and serve and support you, in whatever your real estate goals are. Different personalities jive. I totally understand that. And I've really come to appreciate that over the years, that sometimes I'm not going to be the right fit for a consumer, and vice versa. Sometimes, my clients maybe not the right fit for me, but overall, very, very active, strong track record. So want to share that as far as, our experience in the business. What I encourage you to do is to do a little bit of recon. Okay. Recon. When you get referred a real estate agent's name, get onto their social media profiles. Okay. Now, a lot of agents post content that is, nice, and maybe it's visually appealing, and maybe it has some real estate relevancy to it, but are you seeing documented results? Okay, are you seeing results in terms of actually agents that are actively helping people buy with success in this market? Are you seeing agents that are posting solds and any results related to those solds? So, data and documented results is absolutely critical. And if you find an agent that you've been referred to, whether it's ourselves or whether it's somebody that you're considering working with, get onto their Facebook. Okay, get onto their Instagram profiles. Sometimes look to see if they have a business profile as well. But it's really, really important to do a little bit of research. See what some of the reviews on those pages are all about. What are they, saying about the potential agent that you're going to use or the potential firm that you're going to use? These are important pieces of insight before you just make a decision to get into a buyer representation agreement or a listing agreement with somebody that you may not know. So a little bit of food for thought there. The other thing is to take into consideration the types of reviews that that agent is getting. Okay, are they just getting Google reviews? Are they just getting Facebook reviews? Or are they getting reviews that are really truly sussed out and verified? Because here's the thing, anybody can leave a Google review, and it can be positive or negative. And sometimes we see reviews that are really positive that you say, did that person really buy or sell a house with somebody? Or we see something that's negative, and with Google, it's really hard to get those reviews off, which is fine. But it might be the case where somebody's just looking to be a problem for a realtor, or if you own a business, you know what it's like when you get a negative review. And if anybody ever says I've never had a negative review, that's nonsense. What we look at, though, is the relevancy of the review. And I thought today I would share a really good place to find some information. So I'm going to share over my screen here for you and go to a site called Rate My Agent. So when you're looking at this, what you'll see here is Rate My Agent, which is ratemyagent.com. And you can go in and you can search for London, Ontario. We've just been using this for the last little while, so we are looking to build this out. And a lot of our past clients and people that we've worked with are wonderfully giving us reviews, which is nice. But what I like about this site, and Jeff Guerra, here's one of our key team members. He's ranked in the top 5. I'm up here out of 2,000 agents and, number 11 right now, which is nice. But what I share is that right now we're ranked, as the number 1 team here. And so when you look at us as a top ranked team with over 70 reviews, what I really like about this is that you're going to get a really good feel for actual business reviews that explain the story. So not just saying we're top rated, not just saying that somebody is actually rated as 5 stars, and what does that mean? But with this site, this actually goes through a rating based on different criteria. So responsiveness, okay, knowledgeability, professionalism, usefulness of the website, value of service, marketing reach and lead generation, home prep and staging advice. And it all has to do with a verified review. So that's why it says triple verified, in terms of an address has to be plugged in, and it gets verified by this company, ratemyagent.com. So you can then see that there's a lot more relevance to an actual verified review for you to suss out and look at, different agents. And you can go through all of their reviews. And by no means are all of mine 5-star, but I think I've got a pretty good response rate so far all over London, Ontario, all over St. Thomas, all over other areas. Some of my clients, thankfully, they've, even put their names and things like that. So, when you start sussing out different agents, get on to some of these pages. And, what I share is that too often people make decisions based on, maybe what was. And, somebody might have, a family friend that's in the real estate business, but really they're not that active in the business. And hey, if you've got somebody that you like, you trust, a longtime family friend, all the power to you. But this is the biggest financial decision that most people make in their lives, whether it's the acquisition or disposal of real estate. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of additional insight before just trusting the next referral without really doing your research, maybe doing a little bit of recon and getting on and checking out some really strong reviews to help you make an educated and informed decision. I'm going to have much more in terms of agent insights, property, specific information, a lot more about London, Ontario in general, and, different things for those of you that may be coming from outside of the market on this channel. But I wanted to give you a little bit of information today on how to properly select and suss out your next real estate agent. I hope you have an amazing day. If you do value this content, again, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll leave a couple pieces of information here on how you can contact us or check out our own reviews on ratemyagent.com. Have a great day.